Imagine making over $2 million just by selling one house. Well, that is what this guy did. And in this video, I'm gonna be asking New York's top realtors, is it easy to get rich selling real estate? Is it as lucrative as it seems? And what's it like dealing with the world's wealthiest people?
What is happening, people? My name is Robbie, and today we are watching Asking Luxury Real Estate Agents How to Make $1 Million by Noah Kagan. So we've reacted to a Noah Kagan video before. His videos are really entertaining. They are typically business and finance related, which is obviously what my channel's about as well, so it's relevant. And there's always something worthwhile to take from these videos. And I think I can speak for everyone when I say we'd all like to know how to make $1 million. So let's get straight into it.
Imagine making over $2 million just by selling one house. Well, that is what this guy did. And in this video, I'm gonna be asking New York's top realtors, is it easy to get rich selling real estate? Is it as lucrative as it seems? And what's it like dealing with the world's wealthiest people?
And make sure you watch to the end for a private tour of some of New York's most expensive real estate listings on the market.
Starts here, right? This block, 64th Park Left. $20 million house on the corner. Bernie Madoff's penthouse was up there.
Oh, in that building?
Yeah.
Before we tour these New York mega homes, let's go and hear about the real estate agents' stories and how they even got in the position to list these $1 million properties in the first place.
How much does Serhant sell per year?
This year, I think we'll do 2.7 billion.
We are probably grossing $500 million a year.
How much did you generally sell last year?
Last year, my sales were over 100 million.
I've been a real estate agent since 2008 in New York. My first year, I made like 9 grand. My second year, I made like 50. Third year was like 150. So every year.
That's a very decent progression in pay. 9 grand into 50 grand, 1 year to the next, that's multiplying your income by 5 or 5.5 roughly. And then the following year, multiplying it by 3 again. You can't really complain at that.
I tried to like double it from there. I built a sales team, a big one. There was like 65 agents between here, California, South Florida, and the Hamptons. My last year as a team, we did just over $1 billion in sales that year. And that was 2019. 2020, I decided to blow up my whole life and start my own company, basically kind of creating a content to training to commerce business for real estate. We will sell this apartment, it's $45 million, and we will sell it through TikTok. And the whole company does that. Last year was our first year. We did, I think it's like 1.4 billion our first year.
My first sale was a $230,000 co-op on the Upper East Side. And my first year in real estate, I made $7,300.
Worse than Ryan did.
$7,300. Try living on that in New York.
2020, you sold over $100 million, and most agents make 3% or 1.5%, I guess, with the brokerage.
6%, and then it's co-broke. So yes, 3%.
And then you split it with the brokerage.
Correct.
So over $100 million, that's at least $2 million you're making. That's what someone
That's not bad.
would guess.
That's what someone would guess.
So, how much did you make in your first year? Like, how much did you sell and how much did you make?
Like 80,000 bucks.
That's pretty good.
80 grand compared to 9 and 7.5. 80 grand's decent for your first year.
Your first year? So when you sell like a $10 million plate, how much does like an agent make on that? Like
45%.
$500,000. And how long does that take to sell?
A week to a year. So
Imagine making $500,000 in a week's worth of work, if someone really wants to buy that house.
this house, for example, we had on the market for 35 days.
Pretty quick turnaround for
Fantastic.
What do you think separates someone from an average realtor from the 1%?
I think I've just been absolutely relentless in my pursuit of success. I saw who my competition was. They're already rich. They already went to the most expensive private school ever. They already have this incredible network, and they're doing business that's just coming through their parents. I have none of that. How do I do this? When they're all in the Hamptons or sleeping or taking time off because they have nothing lighting a fire under their own every single day, I'm gonna creep a little bit closer to passing them. Even when I hire new agents now, the ones that have great networks that have been, wealthy or come from successful families for a long time, they'll be good, but it's gonna be very hard for them to be great.
What's separating the people that are 7-figure, multi-million-dollar year salaries versus the people who, 50,000 less or nothing?
What separates? I mean, you think about it, at least in New York, the story was grandma's just gonna go represent someone just because it's easy. They have a friend in the building, they're gonna go sell the apartment. Then they're in and out of the business. This is my career. This is not short game. This is the long game. 17 years, I don't foresee myself changing careers anytime soon. So I think that mindset, creating relationships for the long term will cause, my earning power and my market to grow.
What else do you
This is why people say it's all about who you know when they talk about careers and they talk about making money, networking and things like that. Realistically, it is all about who you know to some extent. There's the angle that Ryan has mentioned in the beginning, that it's all about who you know in terms of your family, your parents, friends, all these wealthy people that you might know. Or in my case, where I haven't come from vast wealth, You need to make your own connections, create your own network. And over time, the longer that you work at that, the bigger your network becomes, the better you know people, the more people know you, the more people are happy to work with you. So it doesn't really matter what business you're in. It's all about who you know. Kind of does apply to most industries, I would think.
I think separates someone who's a top broker versus like people who just make okay money or give up.
I think for me and my business, I organically like to meet people. I love to volunteer. I do a lot of volunteer work. That's how I've met a lot of clients, because you're seeing these people every week. And it's not like you're going there and trying to push your business and be like sales pitchy, like I'm in real estate, hire me, I'm great. Like if you're into cars, join a car club or go to a car show. Surround yourself with other people that love the same things and do the same things, and you can kind of make your business out of that and get clients that way.
So if someone wanted to make $1 million in real estate, what would you recommend for them to do?
I would say do not immediately go into real estate investing. I think a lot of people think that that's where you make money. I think that's also where you can lose a significant amount of money. For me,
that's problematic for me, because if you look on my channel, I think 2 or 3 videos ago, I posted that I bought my first buy-to-let property. So great news from Ryan. Thanks for that one, my man.
brokerage is a no-risk investment. Your time is what you're investing into creating relationships for people that are going to pay you to help them do a real estate transaction that you have nothing to do with. You don't have to buy the glue or the nuts or the bolts. There's no capital investment. And that's what's always set me free, because the risk is your time, but the reward can be endless.
How do you connect with the seller or the buyer in general?
Our day-to-day blocking and tackling is like old school. It's cold calling. Most of the time I get told to off. These cold calls are warm calls now because I'm constantly calling the same people over the years. It will ultimately lead to a sale.
So if someone's looking to build their network, how would you go about it today?
Feel rejection. It's inevitable you're gonna get rejected. And that's okay. There's a guy in my office, he started like a year ago. I never did this, and kudos to him. He's knocking on doors. This is pretty much unheard of, and he's doing it in an area in Brooklyn, and he's had a lot of success doing it.
What are some of the weirder ways people have gotten wealthy that you've learned?
There was someone we were shopping with for a while. They were one of the biggest manufacturers of screws. They ultimately bought like a $35 million piece of real estate, just a little screw.
What are some of the weird ways that people have gotten wealthy?
I had a client who, I'll just say generically, they were in the diaper company of invention of diapers.
See, that's interesting. 2 examples of people becoming very wealthy from boring businesses. It's not selling Rolls Royces. It isn't building mansions. It's making screws and making nappies. The same way that you might see the guy driving past in a Rolls Royce and it turns out that he owns a company that hires out skips. It's not exactly glamorous. It's not exciting. But a lot of boring businesses make a shit ton of money.
Then you'll get people who come in and they're looking at $10 million properties and they're TikTok stars.
Really?
We just sold an apartment.
Not me, unfortunately. I think I've made about £400 from the TikTok Creator Fund. How many years would it take me to buy any sort of house? A lot. Many years. I can't be bothered doing the maths for that.
For $21 million to a guy that hit Bitcoin at the right time and sold it at the exact right time when it was at that day it was at 65,000, he emptied. New millionaires are created every single day in the world now, which isn't something that should get you down. It should be something that excites you.
Can we get a tour of this place?
Yeah, let's do it. Right? So let's actually step out in front. It starts here.
11 mil. Pocket change.
Right, this block, 64th, Park Lex. $20 million house on the corner. Bernie Madoff's penthouse was up there. This is 20 feet wide. You have 3.
Bernie Madoff is the Ponzi scheme guy who would take people's money to invest it in places, and then he would bring in new investors to pay the previous investors their returns. If he'd promised them a 10% return, he would bring in a new investor to bring in $1 million. He would then pay 1.1 million to the initial investor, but then he owes this person 1.1 million as well, and he's already spent 1.1 there, so now he's at 900 here, so then he needs to bring in new investors again to pay this investor, who will then be out of pocket, and eventually comes crashing down. That's who Bernie Madoff is. I think he's in jail, or was in jail. I don't know if he's still in jail now.
Windows across. These are the little things that I look at when valuing a property or walking clients through.
Okay.
I will say this house was renovated about 11 years ago. So from finish quality, everything is still in fantastic condition. So this kitchen in particular is designed by a guy named Christopher Peacock. based out of London, high-end name, so it should then garner more money. On this particular level, you've got dining in the front and living in the rear. Not a big bar, but I like the fact that there's a little serve-up station right here.
Yeah, so I'm the bartender, so I would just be working in here. Like,
That's a cupboard. I have bigger cupboards than that in my house, and it did not cost $11 million. Not at all.
So this was then designed as office and kind of media room. This passes all the way through. So this is another kind of living space, right? So this is where you make your money, sitting at the office. You pass through, and this is where you watch your YouTube videos.
and you guys staged this?
This house was staged.
How much does staging cost to see?
This house.
Before I go any further, I'm going to guess that staging cost, if it's 11 million, 250 grand.
$60,000.
What kind of person can
Overshot it by a mile, by an absolute mile.
afford a $45 million place?
Most people that would buy something like this probably pay cash. You know, second from that, like your down payment, if you wanted to do 20%, you know, is immediately going to be $9 million, which means your monthly costs are going to be absurd. It's going to be like $1 million a year. This is the Steinway building here, which I think is beautiful. It's
I
the
love that.
slimmest skyscraper in the world.
This $45 million apartment is unbelievable. It has an original Picasso just chilling in the hallway, a self-flushing toilet worth over $6,000, and a
I wonder if that Picasso, no, it can't. The Picasso must be part of the staging, because the apartment can't be 45 million and come with a $23 million painting. Who the f is the staging company? Little known fact about me is I once owned a staging company. Me and one of my mates, shout out Liam. We started a staging company, not to this extent. We didn't have a Picasso in the stock. When we started the business, it was a lot of IKEA stuff, no Picassos. I then left the business. Liam went on to continue that for a while. It's fucking hard work. Harder than we thought it would be, that's for sure.
far from bigger than most people's apartments. But what was even more shocking was how much was being spent on booze alone.
This is $40,000 bottle of wine.
So debrief of the
See, that's part of the staging, surely. But then how much money does the staging company spend on random items like 48 grand bottle of wine, $23 million painting?
day. We went to an 11 million, a 6.5 million, a almost $50 million place. I just think it was impressive that a lot of these people started out with making nothing, and then through sticking with it through over 10 years, they're now all making 7 figures a year. And so for me, for everybody out there, it's like, whether it's real estate.
He didn't start by making nothing. Mr. whatever his name was, the third guy, his first year he made 80 grand. That's not nothing. It's not nothing at all.
Whether it's tech, whatever it is, making content, just find the thing you really enjoy doing. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle early on.
$7,300. Try living on that in New York.
But you stick with it, like appsumo.com. Eventually, real estate, whatever that is, you can make a lot of money.
I can resonate with that point. TikTok, for example. I mean, TikTok I've made, as I mentioned, I've made some money, but it's definitely not enough to pay any of my bills. YouTube I make no money from, but I enjoy it. It's fun to make. It's nice to hear comments from people that they liked the videos or the videos were helpful in some sort of way. If that results in some sort of monetary gain at some point, that would be cool. But it's not the only reason I do it. I happen to enjoy it, which makes it a lot easier to keep working at this for nothing, for no money, for no financial gain. It's a lot easier to do that if you enjoy what you're doing. And I do. As strange as that is, I'm sitting in my spare room talking to myself. I'm talking to you, but I'm in the room myself. I'm not sitting here with anyone. I'm talking to a little camera on my own into a microphone. And I enjoy it, which makes it a lot easier. But there's no way that I'm going to make any money from it unless you subscribe and you like the video, you leave a comment. Help a guy out. Trying my best here. The target is 2,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I've mentioned this in a few videos. I'm going to keep drilling it into people because I want to hit it. And we are currently sitting on 1,367 subscribers, which means I still have 633 to go. So like a 48% increase or something like that in the next month. So it's unlikely, but I'm going to try it anyway. Hopefully this video hits the algorithm. Hopefully every video hits well on the algorithm and I hit 2,000 subscribers. But I will stop begging for subscribers now. One thing I have learned is to not string out the end of the video just for the sake of it. So thank you for watching and I will see you next week. Take it easy.